Okay, well, I'm just gonna answer these questions and I'm gonna ignore the multiple choice because I just want to do an emo questionnaire. I think it would be really funny. First of all, do you think you're emo? Yes. Unfortunately, I realized a while ago, like years ago, like past when emo was kind of big, like I was still in denial back then, and I tried to be like normal and everything, but, and this sounds so silly, I know, but really, I got to a point where I was like, that has always been the style I liked. I never wanted to dress like it. I just felt so embarrassed. Like, it was very, very made fun of. Like, in school, like, you were completely made fun of if you looked emo, and like emo was like a way to insult somebody, like, but like I always really liked that style, and I liked Scene when it came out too. Like, I thought that was cool too. I liked the tease hair thing because my hair is pretty flat just naturally, so I'm like, wow, that's such a good idea. But I never did it, and it wasn't until I was like 21 that I was like, you know what, that's a style that I've always liked, and I just have to do it. So yes, I do think I am. I know I am. And it's embarrassing because everybody makes fun of it, but like, what can you do? This is just the style I like. I think I look good in it. I don't know what else to say. Where do you go for your wardrobe? Like, all over the place. Like, I don't really have one store, because as long as I have like black skinny jeans and just like any type of t-shirt, like I can get a t-shirt from fucking anywhere, I don't really care. A lot of the time it's going to be the band's website that I'm going to get merch off of. But other than that, if it's like a nice top that's like not merch, then I go to like Forever 21 or H&M or Garage. That's a Canadian shout out. Garage is okay, but like I would never wear like any of the outfits that they would put on a mannequin. I just like find bits and pieces from like a bunch of stores. So yeah, but also the internet. Do you enjoy poetry? Who's your favorite poet? I do enjoy poetry. I certainly like writing it more than I like reading it. I don't know why. I don't really read poetry a whole lot, but like I do enjoy poetry, like some of it. I don't know if I have a favorite poet because I don't really read poetry very often. I have favorite writers, and those writers have done poetry, but I don't really have a favorite poet. Of course, this is gonna be on this emo questionnaire. It says, what about cutting? Do you cut? What 3 bands are you most likely to listen to? Well, if we're thinking about emo bands, my favorite emo bands would be Fall Out Boy, Pierce the Veil, and then like maybe Brand New. They're a bit emo. Wow, on the multiple choice, it sticks Fall Out Boy with Flyleaf and Aiden, and I don't think I've ever listened to either of those bands, so I guess I'm not that emo. But like, my music taste has always been like kind of weird, so I do like emo music, but like I also like a whole lot of other things, so I was never like fully into like all of the emo bands. Like, I'd ever listened to so many like quintessential emo bands just because they didn't appeal to me, or I'd never really heard of them for a really long time or something. Like, I wasn't like listening to every emo band on the planet. I had like my emo bands, and then I had the other music I listened to too, so I don't know who a lot of those bands are or what they sound like. I recognize the names sometimes, but I had other shit to listen to too. What defines emo music to you? That's a good question. I would say, obviously, like a lot of the time, like it has to be very introspective, very really looking into the things that like suck to think about, feeling like kind of confused and frustrated with mental illness or with like something going wrong in your life, that you're just like really can't deal with, and you're being really introspective about it. So it definitely needs to have like that kind of aspect. And then other than that, like it can really be any genre. Like, it's got to sound like a little bit dark, like pop punk. Like happy pop punk is kind of emo too, but like when I think of like that like real emo music, like it's kind of like crushing to listen to. But there can be like happy songs too, for sure, by like emo bands. I'm back in a new day I was just reviewing the footage from yesterday, and I really wanted to kind of go over the music question again because it is genuinely really hard to answer. I was thinking more, it did ask like what it meant to me, and that is what it means to me, is definitely like the meaning behind it. But I also kind of was thinking, like, if I had to define the genre, like if there was like some sort of sound to define it, because it really can be any genre, really. Like, it's like really all about the feeling, and it's very particular. It's not just any emotional music or any introspective music. It's very much dealing with personal demons and stuff like that. So most people think that emo is like pop punk and sometimes hardcore, post-hardcore, metalcore. I don't know. People kind of like lump some of those bands into emo. So really, emo can be so many genres, and even now with the emo rap thing that's been going on, I consider that emo because it still follows the same tenets of emo, if there are such tenets. But since, I guess, emo is like maybe around 20 years old at this point, starting from like the really, really early days, but then if you think about the way that it kind of became, and it became like this whole look and like like a huge subculture and just blew up. That was about 10 years ago now. So it's still like relatively new. So I think we're all still kind of trying to define what emo is and how it relates to music and what emo music really is. It's really hard to describe. I suppose like the quintessential emo music is definitely goes back to punk roots, and then they mix it in with pop, and it kind of is catchy. A lot of the time it's characterized by like high male voices, like uncommonly high. A lot of people will consider that to be like definitive of emo music. However, it doesn't really have to be. There are plenty of emo bands that don't have that kind of singer. There are plenty of emo bands that like really play with it, and mix in so many different genres together. So I guess really what defines emo to me is just the ideas, the feeling, and if that artist defines that music as emo, if they call it emo, then sure, then they're just interpreting it in a different way. So it is a really difficult question to answer, but that is my best thought for what genre it would be. But my original answer is how I feel about it. What do you do in your free time? How is your love life? Not that I really care. Well, good thing you don't care, because you're not gonna know. It's fine because it is exactly as I want it to be. What is your favorite animal? Cat. It's just always been cat. I just love cats. I grew up with cats. Do you like your peers? Well, I don't know who my peers are. It's not like I go to school anymore. I don't know who my peers are, or peers just like other people your age, like, because I don't really know. Yeah, some of them suck. What is your opinion on crying? It's totally fine. Anyone can cry whenever they want. Crying is good. What am I most likely to find in your messenger bag? My journal. Maybe a book to read too, depending on where I'm going. Obviously, like my wallet and like my makeup will be in there, because I always have like the standard stuff in there in case I need to fix something or whatever. Oh, one of the multiple choice says something about a receipt, and yeah, you'll probably find a receipt too, because sometimes I forget them. I'm sure that you've heard of the book Twilight by now. What do you think of it? I never read Twilight. I remember when it came out, and oops, did I smudge that? And I wasn't really that interested. Like, I was never really interested in kind of like fantastical stories like that. Like, I was too busy reading shit about people doing drugs and like crazy shit. I don't know why I liked reading that. I really just did. I didn't read Harry Potter, didn't read Twilight, didn't read, I don't know, Chronicles of Narnia. I didn't even read Lord of the Rings until I was much older. And I like Lord of the Rings now, but I've never read any of those other books. So, I don't know. Like, I guess everybody can kind of agree that Twilight's like not a great story. I watched like the first movie, I'm pretty sure. I don't think I watched any of the other ones. Like, you can even tell in the movie that it's like, it's just not a good story. And yeah, so I don't think fondly of it. I haven't read it, and I don't plan to. Who is your favorite emo star? Well, the obvious answer for me is going to be Pete Wentz, because he was just the king of emo at the perfect emo time, the peak of emo. He was the king of emo at the peak of emo. There really is just no other contender for me. It's obviously him. What is the single most important thing to say to your favorite band at a meet and greet? Well, I fucking wish that I can go to one. I've never been to one. I guess, like, I would just say, like, I have loved you for such and such a time, and, like, just something about how I really appreciate, like, maybe depending on what band it is, like, whatever specific thing I really like about them, I'd probably point that out and be like, you guys are amazing at blah blah blah, or like, my favorite song is this, or I don't know, something like that. That's probably what I would say, and I fucking wish that I could go to one. That would be amazing. And that's all the emo questions. So if you're emo and you feel super ashamed because emo's always made fun of, I'm here to be on your side. I think it's a cool style, it's fun, it's like, it's not goth, it's different for sure, but it's just as fun. And I think if goths can be taken a bit seriously, so can emos. Thank you for listening to my PSA.